A relationship is like a dance. It takes two to tango. Want to have healthy and successful relationships filled with passion, fun, and harmony? Hi, and welcome to the 22Tango show with Linda Sutton, a podcast that explores how we can improve your relationships with God, yourself, your intimate partners, and the community. Tune in and learn actionable insights and tips you can use to improve your relationships. The battle of the sexes ends here. Join Linda Sutton today and take your relationships to a whole new level while having fun every step of the way.
Welcome to the 22Tango show, where our role and our goal is to help you with all of your relationships. From your relationship with God and self, intimate partner and family, community, nature, and nations. Hi, I am your host and usually doing the most, Linda Sutton, and I am so excited to share with you a new vision for relationships. Now, for anyone that is familiar with the dance of the tango or the tango, as some people say, we here at the Two Tango show, Two to Tango is from the idea it takes two to tango. And if you've ever seen the dance, it is just something that is spellbinding. Usually you see a man dressed in some sort of dashing debonair suit, a woman in a beautiful dress. And when they come together in the dance, it just has so much passion. It's so compelling. There's so much energy. There's so much synergy. And you see the man and the woman as they dance, they're dancing as if they're one person. It is such an amazingly magical and enchanting thing to witness. And if you're like me, if you've ever seen that dance, it just is something that takes your breath away to see that. And sometimes, probably even you might think to yourself, like, wow, what if I could have that kind of energy in my relationship? What if I could have that kind of synergy, that kind of dynamic where two become one, as they say, and they say in the tango, two become one, and it takes two to tango. Like, what if I could have that in my relationship? What if my relationship with my partner was just as passionate and we were in step with one another? We created this dynamic that when people watched us, they just thought they just stopped in their tracks and just watched us and observed us, and it was magical and enchanting. And what if my relationship with my children, where there was just as much playfulness and joy, my interactions with others? What if there was just kind of this harmony that, yes, we could be different perspectives, different roles, different positions, but we could still have that synergy that occurs when we come together that creates this beautiful dance in our relationships. Oh, what if you could have that? And not only if you could have that in every area of your life, from even how you relate to yourself to how nations interact with one another, but what if you could have that every single day in some way, shape, form, or fashion, that kind of harmonious, passionate, playful, purposeful relationship in your life? Well, that is what we are here to share with you and on the 22 Tango show. Just to tell you again, my name is Linda Sutton, and it is so exciting to share with you. I am a professional dancer and have been a professional dancer of Argentine tango and other world dance forms for double-digit years. And it is so exciting to share with you because if you're like me and you have success in other areas of your life, but you really, this place of relationship is a key place that you want to have success in. You may have success in your career, you may have success in your business, even financially, but in the space and place of relationships, you may be struggling to figure out, how can I be successful in in the relationships in my life? And even more importantly, how can I be successful in my relationships on a consistent basis? It's all about being consistent in your relations, babies, in your relations. And so my journey began because in my career, I'm a process person. So I started my career, my background is in policy and administration, health policy and administration. And I started my career as a process consultant. So kind of taking processes and breaking them down so that other people can follow them and replicate them has always been a part of my professional framework. And so it's kind of significant here because as I approach dance, that same set of skills came to play. So I started out with one of the big eight consulting firms at the top of my career as a process and management consultant. And through a process of kind of self discovery and soul searching, I decided at a really young age to do what I call retire from my professional career to enjoy my life early. I wanted to enjoy my best years. And so my rationale was, why would I wait till the end of my career to retire and then enjoy my life? I said, well, why don't I get my retirement years, the quote unquote, and you see my quotation marks, retired lifestyle during my youthful years and get and enjoy life at this point. So that was kind of my rationale. So I left my big eight consulting firm position to pursue dance and dance instruction and performance as a career. Dance training, consulting, and performance as a career. But even more specifically, not just dance from a cultural arts standpoint, but ways that dance and culture could be used to help people problem solve. And one of the reasons that that was important to me is, as a kinesthetic learner, I find that kinesthetic and sentient learning was my primary modality. And I always found that a lot of the areas that I worked in, people were primarily audio and visual learners. And so they would present audio and visual solutions. And I, as a kinesthetic and sentient person, would just be kind of struggling, fidgeting to make it all work and to understand it, because I understood things through experience and movement. And moving through things and feeling and getting involved is the way that I learned things and retained information and problem solve. So I kind of had a special approach in terms of using dance, of course, from the cultural arts standpoint, but also from a way of, how do I use dance to help people connect, to understand a subject matter, whatever that subject matter was. So that was kind of my niche in teaching dance. And I got an opportunity to travel all around the world. And my special form was exploring African dance throughout the diaspora, all the places where African dance had influenced dance forms all around the world was my specialty. And throughout that process, I was teaching African dance forms at two universities, teaching African dance as culture and also African dance just African dance forms throughout the diaspora at two different universities in North Carolina. And it so happens that on one particular day, as I had left one of my classes and was walking across the campus, I found a slip of paper that was on the ground. And if you know anything about Charlotte, North Carolina, which was where I was based, it is a pretty pristine city for the most part. They take a great deal of pride. So this particular piece of paper caught my attention because it's not something that you would normally see, like litter, which is not something that you saw on most campuses, and definitely not on this campus in pretty much the city. And I picked up this piece of paper that was kind of blowing across my path. The wind had picked it up and it was blowing across my path. And so I scurried up to pick it up. And there was a piece of paper on tango lessons. And so when I picked up this piece of paper and I said, oh, another dance form. And I kind of jokingly said to myself, I work for dance, I work for play, why not? And that was the beginning of my journey. I started kind of doing a little bit of research on the roots of Argentine tango and found that Argentine tango had its roots in African dance. And so it was even more motivation for me to explore it in greater detail because that was my area of expertise. And not once I started to get past just the history and the cultural richness of it and its connection to African dances throughout the diaspora, as I got a chance to take some classes myself and experience it, I realized not only was it a dance form that required the most of me, but also I began to see that the secrets that were and steps that were necessary in order to create a harmonious dance were the same secrets and steps that were required to create a harmonious dynamic between any two people in a relationship, and especially in intimate relationships. And so from that moment forth that I realized, oh my goodness, the steps and the secrets that are required to get in step within seconds with your dance partner. What if you could apply that same strategy, that same step-by-step process to get in step with your partner in a relationship? And so once that realization and that aha moment occurred to me, I was like, it became my life mission to figure out and unearth and create a process, a step-by-step process that kind of retool and reverse engineered that dance process to help people to not only be able to use it in their relationship, but also give them a new understanding that sometimes those relationship-based discussions that may seem kind of abstract and ethereal, that once you actually could see an example, a working of example of it in terms of on a dance floor and in a dance context, the light bulbs would go off and sometimes it would make perfect sense to you. So sometimes relationship issues such as issues of relationship and trust and relationship roles, relationship dynamics, communication such as listening and being attentive, attention to details, what it means to be in alignment with one another, what it means to be in step and in sync with one another, what it means in relationships where you get thrown off balance. All of these relationship issues that show up. What does it mean to have conflict and tension and resistance in a relationship? What does it mean to how do you handle missteps in a relationship in places where you're not in sync with one another and you're not quite understanding with one another? All of these things show up in a dance. And as you learn to work through these kind of issues in a relationship that actually show up in a dance, you can actually translate those awarenesses, that insight, those insights and those aha moments into your everyday relationship and interaction with others. I'm telling you, once you start to apply the insights and understandings that you can get from what you can visualize or experience in the dance into your everyday life, you will experience a complete transformation in your relationships. And that means all of your relationships. As we like to say here, all of your relations, baby, your relations. So, what can you expect from the 22Tango show here every week as we kind of engage in this dance of relationships? Well, number one, this show is for dancers and non-dancers. So, if you're a person who has never danced before, that is okay. What we're going to do is we're going to break down these relationship and these dance concepts in a way that you can visualize, both in my description as well as if you go to the blog post of each and every episode. You may see the corresponding possible, if there are corresponding visuals that are mentioned, you'll see those that will help you to better understand the different concepts and constructs that we are describing. Some of it you have already seen. Maybe you have actually even seen a dance, but you didn't understand the dynamic was in play. And so those, kind of having an insight into what is actually going on when you see a dance will help you, even if you're a non-dancer. And then you can use those same strategies and tools in your interactions with others. If you are a dancer, this will help you go into a deeper dive in developing deeper and deeper connections with those that you are dancing with on the floor, but you may not have even thought about how you could relate and use these strategies and tools that you already have in your toolbox off the dance floor. And so I like to say, when I take yoga, they talk about yoga on and off the mat, and in tango, equally the same. You have tango on and off the dance floor. And so if you are a dancer, then you can apply these tools and these skills in your on and off the door interactions. In this show, you can expect to hear directly from me in my years and years of expertise in not only dancing myself with thousands and thousands of both men and women over my entire career, actually getting up into the tens of thousands of people that I have danced with and coached over the years, and the insights of working with that many individuals to help you understand the patterns that will naturally show up in your verbal and nonverbal communication that will give you some insights into what's going on in the dynamic. So I will be speaking to you directly, and then I will also be bringing in experts from every area of relationship expertise to assist you into getting a kind of a very well-rounded, holistic perspective of all of your relationships. But of course, always, always through the lens of dance, because everyone says that I see everything through the tango, through the lens of dance or tango. So you'll always get to have that. And more importantly, one of the things that I want you to get is that our goal and our role is to have lots and lots of fun, is to make this process be one that brings greater joy and playfulness and happiness and joy, happy, joy into your life, and to bring that playfulness into your interactions with all of the people in your life, and to bring that spirit of joy. But most importantly, absolutely bringing that spirit of playfulness and joy into your intimate relationships and the dance of romance that is the tango of your life. So we're so exciting. We've got a lot of wonderful things lined up for you. Of course, if there's anything that you are interested in seeing specifically, you have questions, I'm going to answer some of your questions. We'll have the interviews, we'll have the interactions, and many ways for you to engage with us in the dance of romance here on the 22Tango show. Once again, you can check out the 22Tango show here on the podcast. You can always check out the additional information, whether it's related to the show that you're seeing, the episode that you're hearing, the webcast, or the podcast, or the blog, on the website www.the22, that's number two, you'll see number two and number two back to back, the22tangoshow.com. And as we always say on the 22Tango show, it not only takes two to tango, but absolutely it takes you to tango. Ciao.
We have just concluded another moving episode of the 22Tango show with Linda Sutton. Did you enjoy the show? If so, head over to the22tangoshow.com and discover a whole array of resources to help you spice up your relationship in every way. That's the2tangoshow.com. We would also like to hear from you, so don't forget to leave a review or feedback. Join us again next week for another entertaining and fun episode. Until then,